Wisdom seekers, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in, I want you to know that this video is packed with life-changing advice that you won't want to miss. We're about to explore 14 clever ways to deal with toxic people, and trust me, these strategies could revolutionize your relationships and overall well-being. So, stick around till the end. Your future self will thank you for it. Alright, let's get into it. We've all encountered toxic people in our lives, right? Those energy vampires who seem to thrive on drama, negativity, and making others miserable. Well, today we're going to arm you with some powerful tools to handle these difficult individuals like a pro. 1. Set clear boundaries. The first and perhaps most crucial step in dealing with toxic people is setting clear, firm boundaries. This isn't about being mean or confrontational, it's about protecting your mental health and emotional well-being. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. By setting boundaries, you're essentially deciding who gets to be a part of your inner circle and who needs to be kept at arm's length. So, how do you set these boundaries? Start by identifying what behaviors you won't tolerate. Maybe it's constant criticism, emotional manipulation, or disrespect for your time. Once you've identified these, communicate them clearly and calmly to the toxic person. Let them know that if they cross these lines, there will be consequences, like you limiting your interactions with them or cutting them off completely if necessary. Remember, you're not responsible for their reaction to your boundaries. You're only responsible for communicating them clearly and enforcing them consistently. 2. Practice emotional detachment. Our second strategy is to practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It's about not allowing the toxic person's words or actions to dictate your emotional state. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius had some wisdom on this. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you're dealing with a toxic person, try to observe their behavior objectively, as if you were watching a movie. Don't take their actions personally. Remind yourself that their toxicity is a reflection of their inner struggles, not a statement about your worth. This emotional detachment can be challenging at first, but with practice, it becomes easier. It's like building a protective shield around your emotions, allowing you to interact with toxic people without absorbing their negativity. 3. Use the gray rock method. Our third clever way to deal with toxic people is the gray rock method. This technique is particularly useful when dealing with narcissists or attention-seeking individuals. The idea is simple: become as uninteresting and unresponsive as a gray rock. When interacting with the toxic person, keep your responses brief, boring, and neutral. Don't share personal information, don't react to their provocations, and don't show emotion. This method works because many toxic people thrive on getting a reaction out of others. By refusing to give them that satisfaction, you make yourself a less appealing target. They'll likely get bored and move on to someone else who gives them the attention they crave. Remember, though, this isn't a long-term solution for close relationships. It's more of a temporary strategy to deal with toxic people you can't entirely avoid. 4. Cultivate self-awareness. Our fourth strategy is all about looking inward. Cultivating self-awareness is crucial when dealing with toxic people because it helps you understand your own triggers and reactions. The Greek philosopher Socrates famously said, "Know thyself." This ancient wisdom is incredibly relevant when dealing with difficult people. Take some time to reflect on your interactions with toxic individuals. What behaviors trigger you the most? How do you typically react? Are there any patterns in the types of toxic people you encounter? By understanding yourself better, you can anticipate your reactions and prepare for them. You might realize that certain toxic behaviors push your buttons because of past experiences or insecurities. This awareness allows you to respond more intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. Moreover, self-awareness can help you recognize if you're exhibiting any toxic behaviors yourself. Remember, we're all human, and sometimes we can fall into negative patterns without realizing it. 5. Practice assertive communication. Our fifth clever way to deal with toxic people is mastering the art of assertive communication. This is about expressing your thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and respectfully without being aggressive or passive. When dealing with toxic people, it's easy to either lash out in frustration or withdraw to avoid conflict. Assertive communication offers a middle ground. It allows you to stand up for yourself while maintaining respect for others. Here's how to do it. 1. Use I statements to express your feelings and needs. 2. Be specific about the behavior that's bothering you. 3. State clearly what you want to change. 4. Be willing to listen to the other person's perspective. For example, instead of saying, "You're always criticizing me," try, "I feel hurt when you criticize my decisions. I'd appreciate it if you could offer constructive feedback instead." Remember, assertive communication isn't about winning an argument. It's about expressing yourself clearly and creating the possibility for positive change. 6. Limit your exposure. Sometimes, the best way to deal with a toxic person is to limit your exposure to them. This is especially true if the person is resistant to change or unwilling to respect your boundaries. The Stoic philosopher Seneca advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." In other words, be intentional about who you spend your time with. If you can't completely avoid the toxic person, maybe they're a family member or a coworker, try to 1. Reduce the frequency of your interactions. 2. Keep your encounters short. 3. Have an exit strategy for when things get uncomfortable. Remember, you don't owe anyone your time or energy, especially if they consistently make you feel bad about yourself. 7. Focus on solutions, not problems. Toxic people often have a knack for dwelling on problems and dragging others into their negative mindset. Our seventh strategy is to shift the focus from problems to solutions. When a toxic person starts complaining or criticizing, try to steer the conversation towards constructive solutions. Ask questions like, "What do you think could be done to improve the situation?" Or, "Have you considered trying X?" This approach serves two purposes. First, it shifts the dynamic from negative venting to positive problem solving. Second, it puts the onus on the toxic person to think about solutions rather than just complaining. If they resist and keep focusing on the negative, you can politely excuse yourself from the conversation. Remember, you're not obligated to be someone's emotional dumping ground. 8. Practice empathy, but don't excuse bad behavior. Our eighth strategy might seem counterintuitive, but hear me out, practice empathy. Now, this doesn't mean excusing or tolerating toxic behavior. It means trying to understand where it might be coming from. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. Often, toxic behavior stems from deep-seated insecurities, past traumas, or learned behaviors. By trying to understand this, you can depersonalize their actions and respond with compassion rather than anger. However, empathy has its limits. Understanding someone's pain doesn't mean you have to accept their harmful behavior. Use empathy as a tool to maintain your own peace of mind, not as an excuse to tolerate abuse. 9. Build a strong support network. Dealing with toxic people can be draining, which is why our 9th strategy is crucial: build a strong support network. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people who uplift you and validate your experiences. These are the people you can turn to when you need to vent, seek advice, or simply recharge after a difficult interaction. Your support network can include friends, family members, mentors, or even a therapist. These relationships serve as a counterbalance to the negativity you might experience from toxic individuals. Remember, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. 10. Practice self-care. Our 10th strategy is all about taking care of yourself. Dealing with toxic people can be emotionally and mentally exhausting. That's why it's crucial to prioritize self-care. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's about replenishing your emotional reserves so you have the strength to deal with challenging people and situations. This could involve 1. Regular exercise. 2. Meditation or mindfulness practices. 3. Engaging in hobbies you enjoy. 4. Getting enough sleep. 5. Eating a balanced diet. 6. Spending time in nature. As Epictetus said, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Practicing gratitude can also be a powerful form of self-care, helping you focus on the positive aspects of your life. 11. Use humor. Our 11th strategy is to harness the power of humor. A well-timed joke or a light-hearted comment can often diffuse tension and shift the energy of an interaction with a toxic person. Humor can be particularly effective in dealing with passive-aggressive behavior or subtle put-downs. By responding with a witty comment, you show that you're not affected by their negativity. However, be careful not to use sarcasm or hurtful jokes. The goal is to lighten the mood, not to escalate the situation or hurt the other person. Remember, laughter is a powerful stress reliever. Even if you can't change the toxic person's behavior, you can change how you respond to it. A good laugh can help you maintain your positive attitude in the face of negativity. 12. Practice forgiveness for your own sake. Our 12th strategy might be the most challenging, but also the most liberating: practice forgiveness. Now, this doesn't mean you have to reconcile with the toxic person or allow them back into your life. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment and anger. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Holding on to anger and resentment only hurts you in the long run. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. Forgiveness is about your healing, not about excusing their behavior. To practice forgiveness: 1. Acknowledge your hurt feelings. 2. Recognize that the toxic person's behavior says more about them than about you. 3. Choose to let go of the desire for revenge or punishment. 4. Focus on the present and future rather than dwelling on past hurts. Remember, forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. Be patient with yourself as you work through it. 13. Learn to say no. Our 13th clever way to deal with toxic people is mastering the art of saying no. Many toxic relationships persist because we have trouble setting limits and saying no to unreasonable requests or invitations. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Often, we imagine terrible consequences if we say no, but in reality, setting healthy limits is crucial for our well-being. Here are some tips for saying no. 1. Be clear and direct. Don't leave room for misinterpretation. 2. You don't always need to provide a reason. "No, I can't" is a complete sentence. 3. Offer an alternative if appropriate, but only if you genuinely want to. 4. Remember that saying no to something that doesn't serve you means saying yes to your own well-being. Practice saying no to small things first, and gradually work your way up to bigger boundaries. 14. Know when to walk away. Our final and perhaps most important strategy is knowing when to walk away. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, the healthiest thing we can do is to remove ourselves from a toxic relationship or situation. Epictetus wisely advised, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything, and even if you appear to be somebody important to others, distrust yourself. In other words, don't let your ego or what others might think stop you from making the best decision for your well-being. Walking away doesn't mean you failed. It means you value yourself enough to choose peace and positivity over toxic drama. It's an act of self-respect and self-love. If you've tried other strategies and the person continues to disrespect your boundaries or negatively impact your life, it might be time to consider distancing yourself or ending the relationship altogether. Remember, you're not responsible for changing or fixing toxic people. You're only responsible for your own growth and well-being. And there you have it, 14 clever ways to deal with toxic people. I hope these strategies empower you to navigate difficult relationships with more confidence and peace of mind. Remember, change takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself as you implement these techniques. And most importantly, always prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. And hey, why not share it with someone who might benefit from these strategies? Thanks for watching, and remember, you deserve relationships that uplift and inspire you. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.